Independence Day Resurgence is directed by Roland Emmerich, co-written by 5 people, including him, Dean Devlin, Nicholas Wright, James A. Woods, and James Vanderbilt, and stars Jeff Goldblum, Bill Pullman, Liam Hemsworth, Jesse Usher, and Micah Monroe. And in Independence Day Resurgence, what is the plot of this movie? Literally the exact same thing happens, except now we have advanced technology from reverse engineering the aliens' tech, and instead of a lot of different ships positioning themselves around the world, we have one stupidly enormous ship destroying cities. Now, when I went out to watch this movie with a couple of my friends, we were all telling each other that, it's probably gonna suck. We didn't have any high expectations for it at all. We just kind of wanted to have like a dumb, fun time, and it turned out to be even worse than we expected. Man, Independence Day Resurgence is really, really bad. The plot is atrocious, the acting is so bad, and you know what? For the follow-up to the 1997 winner of the Oscar for Best Visual Effects, this movie doesn't even look good. First things first, do me a favor, go to Wikipedia, pause this video, go to Wikipedia, read the plot summary for this movie. Even if you've already seen this movie, none of it makes sense. God, where do I even begin with this movie? Okay, first of all, it doesn't even make use of the simple but clever structure from the first movie. I mean, this movie still takes place from July 2 to July 4, but it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't bring together characters like the first one did. It's just, lots of different stupid things happening at the same time, and you don't care about any of it. This script here is a textbook case of a blockbuster screenplay that literally does not care about anything, because it just kind of teleports its characters everywhere. It has no regard to the physical distance separating them, because when it's convenient, it will transport people from the moon to Earth with no time difference at all, and it's just, there's no causality in this movie, in this plot, nothing actually affects the overall story. If you read the Wikipedia summary, like, none of this stuff seems to make any sense. There's no real consequences. It's really just a series of random occurrences, and the worst part is, like, in interviews they kept talking about how, oh, this time, we have better technology because it's 20 years in the future. Guess what? It doesn't really matter, because the aliens also have better technology and we're still getting destroyed and whatever, and it just has no regard for its setting, it's not connected at all to the time and place, and so it's just such lazy writing. And then you've got the characters in this movie. The new characters are so bland and uninteresting. There's nothing relatable to them. You don't care about any of them. You don't even want to hang out with them. These are characters who are defined solely by their jobs, their job descriptions. There's no personality beneath that, so you can't really tell one person apart from the other. And the old characters have everything relatable and likable just sucked out of them, and some of them are actually kind of treated disrespectfully. There isn't even an attempt at making a message of, people from different walks of life coming together. Like, they don't even try with that anymore, and so much of the dialogue here is just so painful. There's so much forced humor. Like there are like 10 different characters who are supposed to be comic relief, and it doesn't work. And like I mentioned a while ago, there are just so many stupid things happening, and the editing by Adam Wolf doesn't make any of it easy to follow. It's the kind of editing that will suddenly put in this random shot of different people at the most inopportune moments, and it just messes with the viewer's train of thought. Editing is supposed to help us watch a movie, and the editing here doesn't help us at all. What's weird is that this movie is actually 25 minutes shorter than the original, but it feels so much longer because nothing is happening. It's the kind of movie where so much is happening, but nothing is happening. You don't feel any suspense whatsoever, and there is no, like, one main character in the movie, so you have no one to latch onto. There's no one with, like, a real complete emotional arc, so it just feels like stuff happening for 2 hours and you don't care. Let's talk about some of the actors. There are about 20 actors here with significant lines and screen time, and they expect us to remember who they are, and you don't remember any of them. First of all, Liam Hemsworth, I'm sorry, you're not Chris Hemsworth yet. He's just really forgettable in this movie, and you always get the feeling that he's acting. Jesse Usher plays Will Smith's character's son in this movie, and he's supposed to have like this emotional arc, but he's completely unconvincing. You don't feel for him at all. Micah Monroe is in this movie, and what really bummed me out is that I know Micah Monroe is a good actress because she was in It Follows and she was great in that movie, but here, she has some good moments, but she's so out of place that she just comes off as awkward. And let's talk about the old actors. First of all, Jeff Goldblum isn't even trying here. He's pretty much there for the paycheck. He's phoning it in completely. Ironically, Bill Pullman has more to do in this movie than the last one, I feel, but it's just too little too late. And if you were annoyed by Judd Hirsch and Brett Spiner from the first movie, they will annoy you even more here. They are 10 times more annoying and there's nothing likable about them. Vivica A. Fox is in this movie for like 5 seconds and you never see her again. And for everyone who's complaining that Will Smith and Mae Whitman didn't return to do this movie, be glad they didn't do this movie. And okay, with regard to how this movie looks, it looks really bad because I just feel like they had such an immature approach to the visuals here, because it's like they were so amazed with all this new technology 20 years later that they decided to scrap all the practical effects, replace them all with CGI, and all of it looks so artificial and fake. There's so much green screen in this movie even when you don't need to have green screen. And during the action scenes, there's so many indistinct shapes just flying around throughout the screen that you don't understand anything that's happening. And all the aliens are fully CGI this time, so they look unconvincing as well. They don't look as gross as they used to look. Even the sound in the movie isn't that good, you know, there's a weird lack of intensity in the sound effects even when like people punch each other, so everything sounds really weak. And you don't really fear for people's lives. Roland Emmerich, man, you may have been aiming for cheesy with this movie, but you jumped over that so far and you just landed in really, really bad. The action is incoherent, every character beat feels forced, and the rousing tone from the first movie has just been replaced by meaningless destruction. The one scene I will say that I enjoyed in this entire movie involves a school bus being chased by an alien across the desert, and I thought the scene was cool because the visual effects actually looked good, and it was something different, something new that I hadn't seen from the first movie, so it was like a combination of old and new, which is what I wanted to see throughout the movie. But Independence Day Resurgence is just a really, really bad film. I honestly can't recommend it to anybody, even if you're a big fan of the first movie, because there's just nothing to it. I'm sorry, don't waste your time. Alright, so those are my thoughts on Independence Day Resurgence. Have you guys seen it? What do you think about it? Whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.